Okay, I'm flying in the 17th, meeting with the attorney on the 18th. It's conceivable that there would be a partners meeting with the attorney. We're not going to do like an interrogation of the attorney and what about this and what about this, what about this. But we can just casually sit around, maybe have a cocktail at a downtown bar, hotel bar in Austin if he would be up for that. But it's a partners meeting, which means you're a partner, which means you're paid in and documents have been signed. Not, I'm interested. You're in or you're not a partner. Understood? Now, just very basics. An LLC, they're not called partners, they're called members, but we can call them partners. I'm the manager, but really there's 99 equal partners, potentially. Okay. So, and if you're not a partner, you're not even allowed to talk to the attorney, nor am I really supposed to talk to you about internal information for the LLC. So if you're in, you're in. Now, the other part about being the partner, and this is the reason I've started to talk like this, like if you followed me for some time back in the day, we used to talk about a DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which has to be, I know I'm getting a little down in the weeds with you, but has to be member managed. Problem is it's really hard to execute on it. Like it's even, you can't even walk into a bank and say, hey, 99 people have control of this bank account. It's just unworkable. So Wyoming, you might remember, was the first state to recognize DAOs as digital LLCs. So what we're doing is still like in the spirit of that, but just the basics, like to go open a checking account, like it's untenable to say like, oh, we have 82 people in control of this checking account. Follow me? But the decentralized nature of the thing is still there. And what we really want you to do is we want you to come either meet with us or you're going to meet online or we're going to watch Zoom together or you're going to watch these things that I do on here. And you're going to have some Apple hardware running a new internet, like a new piece of the internet. And today is about Larry. Today is about Larry Ellison. And we're going to go through a massive, like Fourth Turning guys win the award for the best. They wrote that book in 1991. I think there's somehow it all fits together. Like the Cold War ended, grunge happened, and they wrote that book like all in 6 months or something like that. It's like the zeitgeist kind of a thing. But they implied that, as I've said many times, like it's going to be like every great crisis that America's ever been through all at the same time. Come on. Pearl Harbor? Iran is more of a threat to the United States Navy. Let me back out of that a little bit. Well, they developed a torpedo with Russia, which is autonomous. If Iran wanted to, and Alon Mizrahi has explained this to us, he's the Mizrahi perspective, brilliant guy. They could like wipe the Navy out of the Middle East. They would probably have to do it with Russia's and China's permission, right? Because it would escalate to World War III. But they could sink an aircraft carrier whenever they want to. In other words, Iran could do a Pearl Harbor if it wanted to. It doesn't want to. It doesn't want to give Trump the floating bodies, if you know what I mean. So here we are with this massive, massive political crisis. It's almost like the federal government doesn't exist. And here's how I'm going to suggest you think about that. Go look at the video of Secretary Rubio getting off the plane in India. And there's no one. If fucking Jay-Z and Beyonce got off the plane in India, there would have been a bigger reception. There was no one there. In India. Now, in case you don't know the math, there's more people in India than there is in all of the Western nations combined. Putin said a couple of years ago, he said there's one province in India that has more people than the UK. There's like one state with, I don't know, like 300 million people in it. So you can call it the BRICS phenomena, whatever you like, whatever angle you want to put on it. But we're gonna, like, July 4th, we're gonna have this thing, um, which is just going to be a complete disgrace. It's going to show that the federal government doesn't really exist. It's a fucking clown show. It's Hunger Games. It's going to be like Kid Rock and Losers. Loser, Ron. Loser. All right, so we'll do. Sorry, let me finish up with the Austin thing. So the weekend of June 20th, I think it's appropriate. We probably, if you're going to fly in on Friday and you'd like to meet for a drink on Friday night, I'm all ears. Austin, like, once you're downtown, like, everything's in walking distance or Uber distance, and then we could do something Saturday morning, like more, more involved, like a little bit of a. But it's up to you guys whether or not you want to be partners or not. I'm not babysitting people anymore. What about this? What about that? How's this going to work? Well, you're a partner. If we were making a partnership to start a law firm, would we have to have the answer to every case that we're going to have? No, no. It's a decentralized system that's going to operate primarily state by state, and then underneath the states, possibly county by county or area. I like area codes better because there's lots of counties with no people in them, but area codes are about 1.6 to 2 million people. It's a nice chunk of people, whether you're talking Compton or whether you're talking the whole state of North Dakota. It's 2 million people. Okay. So June 17th through the 20th. You got to be money good. The money's either in the checking account or the money's not in the checking account. We're done. We're moving on. So I think this is sort of like the end of the Sunday church and state thing. Sometimes I call it 1,000 years together. But today we want to focus on Larry. Larry has some problems. Larry, we all think that Trump runs America. I would suggest that maybe he's more of a spokesperson, really, for like a corporate system, a corporatist system, an oligarchy where democracy and capitalism, primarily financial capitalism. And the guy, what's financial? Like, it's all financial. Like, America's economy is primarily financial, with soybeans and fracking for oil and gas. That's America's economy. Everything else is just like housing and healthcare and military spending and stuff like that. We don't compete in anything with China. You want to DM me and disagree? I'm all ears. If China sold cars here, like if China made an F-150 pickup truck and sold it here, do you know how much less it would be? 80% less. Not 8, not 18, not 48. 80% less. So really, like, we have all these, the Fed is data dependent and all this bullshit, but really, like, capitalism and democracy have merged, and you could call that oligarchy, you could call that corporatism, and the guy who runs that system, open the thing and see all the people, the guy who runs the system, the technology system, is Larry Ellison. It's a weird, what? The guy who brings all the corporations' data together is Oracle. 41% owned by one guy, by Larry Ellison. So really, if you wanted to cause a big kerfuckle in the United States, stop talking about Trump, just like Biden. Biden didn't have anything to do with anything. Neither does Trump. These are two old men that, like, have health problems and periodically, shit themselves and other things. And really, do you ever think about, like, the persona of Trump and Biden, how similar they are? Come on, man. From Scranton, I've hairy legs. It's almost like Trump, like, we'll see what happens. Yeah, we may just bomb him on. Obama in the Senate. They're both just like old assholes. And I think they're like, if you're going to, what was the guy that passed away who's the country singer? I don't know. You know who I mean? The guy, I love this bar. Got not Keith Urban, the other guy. Anyways, like he became the spokesperson for the F-150 pickup truck like 20 years ago or something like that. That's what Trump is. Trump and Biden are just like these egregores of the boomer brain, primarily white male boomers. Like, yeah, he's from Scranton, and I mean, there's not really much more to say about Joe Biden than that. And Trump is like, make America great. They're just sort of like fantasies of like, I'm sorry, but like old men who are sort of starting to lose it. But the real guy who runs the whole thing is Larry. Larry's the guy that puts the technology together, probably connected to intelligence, so that they can see every working of every transaction in every corporation. That's right. So they can already see through the Federal Reserve System. Like if you've ever worked for a bank, it's a weird thing. Like if you know Bob, the trucking company guy, is, banks with you, you can just type in the trucking company and you can just see everything that happens in that company. Do you ever think about that? Every transaction, every debit card transaction, how many drinks you bought in Vegas, everything you can see right there. So they can already see all the financial transactions, but through Oracle, they can see everything else. They can see every order of concrete and steel and whatever. Right. But here's what's happening is that people are starting to unplug from that. Sometimes this is the fourth turning shit. Sometimes it's by, um, uh, sometimes the corporations are trying to hold people in, and sometimes they sort of get cut out at the same time. And what you're seeing right now is like a lot of people leaving the corporate system. They're leaving the big tech companies. Where are they going? There's a big economic opportunity for somebody who figures that out. There's like 1 million people up and down the West Coast lost their job in the last 2 years because of AI, right? They're going to lay off 30,000, 40,000, 60,000 here, there, and the other place. They're losing their health insurance. They're losing their corporate health insurance. I mean, did you ever really think about what Obamacare really is? It's to force everybody into a corporation. This is how America works. That's my theme for you today. And the guy who runs it, the sort of pope of the system, is Larry Ellison. So people are losing their jobs, they're losing their thing, they're locked into the other big part of this is debt. So you think of what is debt? Well, I borrowed the money from the bank because the other people put the money in and then they lend it to me. Okay, that's cartoonish. That's not how banking works. Modern Western banking is banks just create money and give it to you and enslave you. Your kid wants to go to college? There's $40,000. And now your son or daughter has to pay $40,000 for it. I mean, it's completely fucking insane. It's completely insane. You can go work at Starbucks and get a degree for free from ASU and work 20 hours. So, like, if you ever really think about what the American economy really is, it's this big corporatist system to get as many. Whenever they say growth, what do they mean? They mean growth of credit. I don't mean growth of like tires or something. They don't measure the world in goods and services. They measure the world in money, and money comes from credit. So every time you turn on their TV and see somebody talking about growth, it's just debt. That's all. Do you think that the economy is 40 times bigger than it was in 1980? No, of course not. Of course not. Do you think there's like 40 times more everything? No, there's not by any stretch of the imagination. Now, what's the thing that holds it all together is technology. the thing that puts the debt and the politics and the media and all this stuff gets hooked up by Larry. Larry runs TikTok. Larry runs Oracle, which runs all the fucking software for all the corporations. Larry is trying to take over the media. America has a Larry problem. All we have to do is get Larry. And how do you do that? You get off Larry. You get away from Larry. How do I do that? Move to the woods and turn off? No. Mm-mm. You build new systems. And that's really the theme of the fourth turning, that there's going to be this thing. They literally said 25 and 26. You know that. 2025, it's like the crisis will come. 2020. They wrote this in 1991. The crisis will come about 2024, roll in about 25, and like come to a head in 26. It's like the book of Revelation or some shit. And where the real breakdown is going to be, everybody thinks, including me, because you've heard my content, that I think the NASDAQ's going to go down 80%. And it never does. So, we missed that one. Because they can always just blast more digital bullshit into the system. Okay, then OpenAI is worth $1 trillion. Why not 10 trillion? Who the fuck's going to argue with them? If Larry Fink places a trade against JP Morgan, BlackRock buys 100 shares of stock at the end of the day from JP Morgan Wealth Management, buys 100 shares of OpenAI at $1 trillion valuation, it's worth $1 trillion. And that's the end of it. So, but what I'm trying to tell you is, like, through the great financial crisis, people, including myself, were like, well, can they really just print $7 trillion? Yeah. Well, is that going to cause inflation? And this is where you have to pull out your Mark Faber book. It's called Tomorrow's Gold. You should read that book. You should give it to everybody you know. Nobody knows nobody has ever read this book. Nobody even understands this book. This is the book that says it doesn't matter what the system is, but there has to be a system. And in the opening pages, his daughter, I think this is brilliant, basically, there's like a big Greek-looking dish held up by elephants. And the idea is the money goes like this, and you never really know where the elephants are going to dump the money. I just dumped the money on the carpet. So all that $7 trillion like created all this leverage in the system, and where did it go? It went into stocks, and it went into real estate and consumer goods. The inflation was not caused by the checks that were sent out during COVID. Inflation isn't caused by 70-year-old Hispanic women going to Walmart and buying a bag of beans and rice. It's caused by trillions and trillions passed out to corporations. During COVID, the Federal Reserve created a facility of $7 trillion for BlackRock. Like, it's almost bizarre to say. Why? Because the junk bond market is worth $7 trillion, and they just called Larry Fink and said, make sure that shit doesn't collapse. So nothing's allowed to collapse, people. Nothing financial is going to collapse. The point of this thing, which is, is the real action is in the technology. The real action is in things like this. So, it's all about Larry. If the American people just get up and go like, I'm not fucking with Larry anymore. I'm done with Larry. I'm getting all these goddamn, like, why does every time I have a Zoom meeting, why does it have to go through Apple or Google or Gmail or whatever? Why is everybody up my ass all the time for every single thing I do? And yesterday I went through the whole thing and I showed you that you can run massive, hey, Wi-Fi's on. You can run massive LLMs on $4,000 or $5,000 worth of equipment. Nobody needs Larry anymore. So this is like the Civil War. So you're going to have these oligarchs, right? Remember when Trump had all the oligarchs? That's the way to think of it. Some people were saying tech bros and technocracy and stuff like that. I'm more like into like, these are the people that really control America. And I think they work for somebody we don't quite understand, Mrs. Rothschild or something like that. But remember, Trump had all these people, and they're like, Mark, how much are you investing in AI? 600 billion, right? And it was all made up because you could see in the video, 2 minutes later, he turned to Trump and said, I didn't know what number you wanted me to say. That's how America works, people. So now, young people, you probably have seen a couple of videos of graduation speeches and somebody brings up AI and they boo them, right? So, young people already get the joke in a way that I think people my age don't. And that is, the real crisis isn't that is that Palantir runs the world. The technological republic is really an argument for a kind of confederacy. Well, I don't understand. What do you mean confederacy? It's a moral. It's like what's the word? It's it's like a polemic that says we should use technology to really replace the government. That's Alex Karp. He wrote a book called The Technological Republic. That's what's going on with Trump. It's not Trump. They're installing this centralized technological system to try to maintain their monopolies. Okay, if you want to get down in the weeds of the tech part of this, go subscribe to Black Swan Files. He lays it out. He says, look, their technology, Larry's technologies from the 80s. I remember one time my stepson said to his mom, it's like, Mom, your music's like from the 90s. And it was like 2002 or something. Oracle's like, we were in fucking high school when Larry took over. That's here. I'm going to tell you this, Linda. So when the Bruno project started, it was quite a while ago. And I really got my hooks, or blockchain got its hooks in me, either way you want to say it. It's like, the old cliche, I have an idea, or the idea has you. And I went to see a big tech company that runs the University of Texas's computer science system, I should say. And they explained that they are in contact with big financial institutions and they know the transition to blockchain was going to happen. This is quite a while ago. Okay. It was in a Federal Reserve paper in 2016. And they explained that you can't take these big IBM mainframes and just hit the like blockchain button and say, put it all on blockchain. They have to start over. If you understand that concept, you understand all the content I've made for 5 years. It's the Great Reset. They can't take JP Morgan and just blockchain it. So they have to build all these new systems and then have all this bullshit going on. So we're not sure what Ethereum is. Is it a security? What is it? I don't know. FTX. We didn't even know that Tom Brady lost $1 billion. It's all bullshit, people. It's all bullshit. So you don't know that the financial system has probably all been replaced already. Who created Palantir? Who created all these things that Trump put in place? What do we call them? The PayPal Mafia. What is PayPal? A digital payment system. They've been putting in the new system probably for 20 years. And everybody thinks the headlines are like, Swift is going to run on Ethereum. Really? Nobody saw that coming. Well, if you get the joke, it was in the fucking Federal Reserve paper in 2016. So it's all about Larry. And it's a big opportunity for people who have their heads screwed on straight. And that's why I invited you to Austin for the June 17th through the 20th if you want to be a partner. Now, July 4th, I'm committed to raising significant capital, but I'm also very committed to leaving an some sort of venue that's either very, very inexpensive or free to participate in the whole Bruno AI rollout thing. And I'm starting to, I appreciate your feedback on that. I'm starting to think of an intern program. I actually made like a little poster for it. And here's my thought process. Like I came up with this in literally in Starbucks. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. So look at this. Just shooting from the hip. What do you think? So you walk out into the bathroom at Starbucks, and there's a like not real big, not real prominent, but this is stuck to the bulletin board. What does it say? Bruno AI wants interns and helps with student loans. What? What are you doing there? Let's think about this for a minute. There's millions of Gen Z. This was right out of the fourth turning, too. There's millions of Gen Z people, educated, semi-educated, 3 years of college, whatever, who are, I mean, I saw a year ago, I saw a guy graduate from Yale and he said, "Hey, I'm on my third interview at Ruby Tuesday." Like, you can swing a dead cat and find like a 28-year-old with like a college degree who's just spinning their wheels financially. Now, we could go raise money in the Silicon Valley and like try to recruit all these people and employ them. But here's my thought. What if we build out this system of like master agents in crypto? We call them master nodes. They're really the same thing. They're just another layer of technology. As we learned last year, blockchain is the database and AI is the user interface. Like, even a dumbass like me can understand that. And we go to these people and say, we want you to come into our prompt box and use our architecture, which will mirror chain Opera. And you go look that up and watch a couple of videos. It's made by an Iranian and a Chinese gentleman at USC. It's a decentralized AI model that runs on blockchain. I'm going to call it sort of the Southern California view of AI. It's like the anti-Larry. You can quote me on that. And said intern, we say, and then the chain Opera system already has this. It has a coin like Ethereum, like ETH, and it pays you for providing what's the word? Compute, for providing the system with compute. Well, we would put another layer on that and say, we want you to provide content. We want you to provide experience. We want you to train the system. And given your usage, well, I don't understand, what would this look like? Okay, so back in the day, I used to make up this meme called Caitlin, which was like Karen. Everybody knows what a Karen is, right? Like someone roughly middle-aged, like my age. And Caitlin is like 28 or 32 or something like that. And sort of pissed off, but not pissed off like Karen. And Caitlin is making $30,000 working at the bank in, I don't know, Detroit or something, and really just makes ends meet. And she's capable of a lot more. So what if it's like we can have the hardware. She doesn't even need really good hardware. She gets on and she says, all right, I'm in Detroit. I'll work on these 12 opportunity zones in Detroit. And Detroit's just loaded with opportunity zones. And I'm going to come home and, pet my cat and get on, and I'll piss around and I'll just like engage these opportunity zones for maybe like 10 minutes a day. I'll go look at them. I'll take some pictures. I'll find a warehouse. I'll find the appraisal for it. I'll look up who owns it, whether or not they'd sell it. A friend of mine had their daughter recruited to go. She's this 20 something, 100-pound girl. She was supposed to go through downtown Los Angeles and look for warehouse space. Wasn't really the perfect ethnic fit, but let's all calm down. But a similar thing, though. So Caitlin starts to meets with some people from CBRE. CBRE already has an AI system. Really starts to do the underwriting, use an AI, which it's a perfect puzzle for AI to solve. And it gets to the point where we're like, what would we do in opportunity zone 34712? I just made that number up, with $1 million. And AI can okay, let's go see what's available in that area code. There's a one right here in my hometown in an opportunity zone. Is it 400,000 square feet? No, it's 100,000. No, it's $400,000 and it's 100,000 square feet. It's like a Walmart without a roof on it. I mean, nobody knows what to do with it, right? That's the joke. That's why it's an opportunity zone, because it's in a very impoverished area. But hold on. So she starts to really engage this thing. And we can see the idea of this, they literally called it a federated system of inputs, agents helping the agents, master agents helping the agents. See where we're going with this? And this was all articulated by a PhD student at the USC. It sounds like the thing I told you last year. Blockchain and AI are going to somehow kind of merge. So now we say to Caitlin, hey, this has been really great work, and X, Y, and Z goals have been met. I don't know, underwriting of something, or maybe a transaction, and we've decided to start paying your student loans up to $500 a month for like 10 minutes a day. How many hundreds of thousands of people could we get in that system? It's almost like that has to happen. I don't know. What do you mean has to happen? Larry and fucking Alex Karp are not here to make the world better for American citizens. They're here to steal everything and kill you. Like, you can go listen to, Tucker talk about this, and he goes, I'm sort of over like the people. I mean, they murdered 100,000 people in Gaza so they could go get the gas and run it to Europe. They dropped bombs on civilians, paid for, signatures by Janet Yellen, directed by Anthony Blinken. The Democratic Party murdered 100,000 people so that Mrs. Rothschild and Chevron could move the gas from what belongs to the people of Gaza. Not anymore. Fuck you. That's who these people are. Larry is the biggest contributor to the IDF. Private. IDF, software systems, TikTok, media, one guy owns 41% of the whole fucking thing. I don't know, call me crazy. Maybe we ought to go build something else. Have a nice weekend.